Hello everyone, my name is Kumar. Welcome back to our channel Kumar Programming. This is the continuation of part 6 Docker Compose, and in this video we are going to learn about Docker Compose commands, and we will see all the useful Docker Compose commands along with the practical demonstration. Right now let's quickly see that what we have covered in our previous video. In our previous video we have covered about basic understanding of the Docker Compose, right? And after that we did the installation of Docker Compose, and after that we learned about how we can write the Docker Compose file, and also we have seen what is the differences we have in JSON file and YAML file, right? And after that we learned about how to define our services, how to define our networks, how to define our volume inside our YAML file, and also we have seen how we can run our multiple application in Docker Compose, or how those services or application can communicate with each other, right, by using the networks and volumes. Now in this video we are going to learn about the Docker Compose commands, right? And I'll try to cover how to debug container inside our Docker. So now let's start. So in our previous video, we have created a compose file, Docker compose file, and inside that compose file, we have created multiple services for our node application, HTML application, and Angular application, right? And also we pulled MongoDB service, Mongo Express service, Redis, and Redis commander. And also we created volumes, two volumes that we have created, MongoDB data and Redis data, right? And we have created a network, default network. By using this network, all these services are communicating with each other, right? And also we run all those services as a container. And here if you see, this is my Angular application which is trying to connect to our API, node API, and then from the node API trying to connect to our Mongo database and Redis database. Okay, so here we have stored some of the user information, and there is a one key stored for the Redis database, right? So here our Angular application is trying to connect to API, and API is connecting to our Mongo database and Redis database. And see in our Docker desktop, if you see here, we have created a Docker Compose application, Docker, and inside this Docker, we running all those services inside our Docker Compose. So now in this video, we are going to learn how to manage all these services inside our Docker Compose by using our Docker Compose commands. So let's see in action. Here in our Docker Compose command, the very first command which we have, Docker Compose PS. Docker Compose PS command is used to show the list of all the containers running inside our Docker Compose, right? So now let's see. Let's flip to the Visual Studio. Let's open a terminal. So I'll open a Git Bash terminal here. And inside my terminal, I'll use command as a Docker Compose PS, right? Docker space compose PS, right? So now let me make it bigger, and yeah, right, press enter. So once you press enter, it's going to show you the list of all the, let me minimize, yeah, so it's going to show you the list of all the running containers inside our Docker Compose. So if you see here, these all are the container: HTML app, Mongo Express, MongoDB, ng app, node app, Redis commander. All those services are running inside our Docker Compose. So this command is very useful. And also if you want to find out any specific service or any specific container, how you can search it. So here we have to use our Docker Compose PS command, Docker Compose PS, and then you can grep, right? So you can just give a pipe and then grep, and here you can provide your text which you want to search. Okay, so here I'll find out my node app. Okay, so here I'll just give as a node. So now it's going to give the container which contain the text as a node. So if you see here, only I'm getting the node app container, right? Now further move and let's see the next command. So the very next command which we have is Docker Compose build, right? Docker Compose build is used to build our services defined inside our Docker Compose file. See here, if you see our Docker Compose file, so this is my Docker Compose file, and here we have defined our services: node application, HTML app, ng app, right? So these applications are that we have defined here, and Docker build command is used to build all those services, build as a image, right? So since already we have built all those services, if you see here, once we build all those services, images were created over here, right? Inside our images, and here list of all those services up and running. Since we have already built our services, so it's going to be quickly build. So here I'll show you in my terminal here. If we write command Docker compose build, right? So it's going to build all the services. Okay. So it's going to be built very quickly because we have already built all those services. So see, it's building now. All of our HTML app, Node app, and Angular app, all those services are getting built. So now here you can see my all the services are built here. One important thing here, if suppose that you want to build only one services from your Docker Compose file, so how can you do that? Let me just show you. Let me clear it, and here Docker Compose build, and suppose that I want to build my only Node app, right? The service which we have defined here, see, I want to build only Node app. I don't want to build the other services, right? So what I'll do here, I'll just give service name, and service name is Node app, right? And I'll press enter. At this time, it's going to build only Node app, right? So see here, and it's not going to build the other services. See, Node app application build this time, right? Now let's see our next command, which should be docker compose up, right? So mainly docker compose up commands is used to build, recreate images and start and attach images to the containers, right? So now we have built our images and we have to run those images as a container. So the command is going to be used as a docker compose up, right? So now let's see in action. In our Visual Studio here we have docker compose up hyphen d, right? Hyphen d is to detach the container from this terminal. Okay, since my containers all up and running, so it would be quickly show you that all the containers are up and running, right? And if our container is not up and running, then it will rebuild our images and it will create the containers and attach those images to this container, right? And here one more important thing, if you want to run a very specific container, right? So how we can do that? Similarly here, docker compose up, and then we have to provide our any service name which we want to run. So here I'll give node app, right? And hyphen d. If I won't give hyphen d, see, it's going to misspelled, so it would be docker compose up node hyphen app. Okay, so now it's going to run only node app, but this is attached, so my this terminal is attached to this node app, right? Node app container, so I cannot do anything over here, right? So if I just press Ctrl C, now my terminal is going to be detached from the container and also container is going to be stopped, right? So here we have to use hyphen d to detach the container. So now let's see, now it would be detach the container and my container would be running now. Great. Now let's see the next command. The very next command which we have is docker compose down, right? Docker compose down is used to stop and remove containers, networks and volumes, right? So now let's see in action how we can use our docker compose down commands. So here in our Visual Studio, and I'll open my Docker desktop as well side by side. So here you can see this is the list of all my containers here. Now I'm going to, okay, let me make it small. So now I'm going to use the command as a docker compose down and see how these all containers are going to be stopped and then it's going to be removed. So see, docker compose down. Okay, so now you can see here all my containers are going to be stopped as well as removed. See, my containers are getting stopped and it's getting removed. As of now, node app is getting stopped, right? So if you see here, all the status are removed here for all the containers, and here you won't find any containers as of now, right? But if you see here in the images, we are seeing list of all those images still there, right? And if you see the volumes are still there, right? So it didn't remove our images and volume, right? And if you want to remove our images and volume, how we can do that? So now let's first make our containers up and running. So what command we have? Docker compose up hyphen d, right? So since already my images are there, so my containers would be up and running very quickly. See, now my containers are up and running. Now I'll use the command to remove our containers as well as images as well as my volume. So what is the command that we have? Docker compose down hyphen v. Hyphen v is going to remove your volume, right? And then we have to remove our images as well. How we can do that? Hyphen rmi remove images all. Very simple, right? Press enter. So now it's going to remove your containers. See, my containers are getting stopped and quickly getting removed. And also if you come to the images, our images will also be getting removed. So see, my images are also getting removed, and if you see my volumes are also removed, and if you see network or default network is also removed. This volume was created by default, so and it was not associated with our compose, so that's why it's not removed. But the other two volumes which we have created inside our docker compose are removed, right? So be remember that docker compose down -v -rmi and all command is going to remove everything from your docker, right? And also whenever we are building our images, every time cache getting generated. See here inside our build, see these caches are being generated. So how we can remove those caches? So let's see how we can do that. So here we have a command as a docker system prune, right? And if you want to run multiple command together, we have to use and ampersand sign 2 times, and then we have to use docker builder prune, right? So this is going to remove your all the stopped container, all the stopped network, dangling images and cache, right? So I'll press yes. So now my all the cached objects are going to be removed. My all cache have been removed from the build, right? Now let's further move and see the next command. Clear. The very next command, which is docker compose start, right? So mainly docker compose start command is used to start existing container for services defined inside our docker compose file, right? So whatever the containers that we have, we can start and stop, right? And the very next command is stop. So we will see both commands together. Let's see. Since as of now we have not any containers, we have not any images, right? So first of all we have to build our images and make them up and running. Okay, so how we can do that? Docker compose build, right? And also we have to make them up and running. Here we will use command as a docker compose up -d, right? So it's going to build the images as well as it's going to run the container. So here you can see once our images is built, we will see the list of all those images here. So images are still building now. Since we have removed our everything, we have removed our cache, we have removed everything, right? Because we use docker system prune and docker builder prune, right? So that those commands are going to remove everything. So this time it will take some more time. Now see, our HTML app image is ready, and now it's building to node app, and simultaneously it's building angular app. Once these services are getting built, then our docker compose up command is going to be executed, and which is going to pull the services from docker hub and make them up and running all together. So you can see here my node application service is also built. Now our angular app is getting built. You can see here my angular app is getting built now. Still our angular app is in progress. It should be completing soon. So now here you can see our angular application build is also ready. Now it's pulling our services Redis commander, Mongo Express, MongoDB and Redis from our Docker hub, right? So now here you can see my Redis commander is already pulled. Right side you can see this Redis commander image, and Mongo Express, MongoDB, Redis is still in progress. My network is a bit slow today, that's why it's taking a lot of time. Now you can see this Redis also pulled, and here you can see Redis image also pulled, and here our Mongo Express is also pulled. Now only pending with MongoDB. Now our MongoDB is also pulled. Now you can see here all the images are pulled. Now our container should be created and container should be attached to those images, right? So see here my containers are getting created inside my Docker Compose application, and now all of my containers are started, right? Now we will see how we can stop them, right? So here clear, and now I want to stop all those containers. Okay, so how can I do that? Docker compose stop, right? So stop all these running containers immediately. So now see our containers are getting stopped. So if you see all my containers are getting stopped with a single command. So that's the power of Docker compose. Immediately we can manage all our containers. And if you want to start all those containers, we can start by using our docker compose start command. Okay, so docker compose start command is going to start all those containers immediately. But suppose that if you want to start only one container like node app, so how we can do that? So just we have to use our command docker compose start, and After that, just provide the service name. If I provide the service name, it's going to start only node app container. See, now only my node app container got started. And here now I'm going to start my all the containers, right? So it's immediately it's going to start my all the containers together. See, all containers are getting started. Great. Now let's see our next command. So our very next command is docker compose restart. It's very simple, right? So these containers are already running, and if you want to restart any container, so we have a command as a docker compose restart. Okay, so this command is going to immediately restart our containers. And if you want to start any specific container, node app, so here I'll use docker compose restart node hyphen app, right? So it's going to restart only node app container. Now it's restarting our node app container, and node app container is restarted, right? And if you want to restart our all the containers together inside our docker compose, we have to use our docker compose restart command, which is going to restart our entire containers. So here you can see in the status, see these are just now started, 7 second, 8 second, 10 seconds, right? Great. Now let's move to the next command, and the very next command, which is docker compose execute, right? So this command is very useful, right? Whenever you want to execute any command inside the container, right? So let me show you that how we can do. Let's flip to the Visual Studio, and here suppose that I want to execute some command in my node application, in this service, node app service, right? So what I'll do here, docker compose, and then I will go inside this container, node app container. So how we can do that? So here docker compose exec, and then we will give this service name. Service name is node hyphen app, right? And then we will provide .sh. So this container is going to be open in cell. So let's press enter, and now we would be able to enter. Sorry, I think it would be sh. Yeah. So now we are inside of our node application container, and here if you want to execute any command, we can execute it, right? So now let me execute npm install nginx. Okay, so I'm going to install nginx on this container. So install it. So now you can see my nginx is installed on this container. Let's see inside our docker. So here I'll open my this container, and I just open my file here, and we have user, then we have source, and we have app, right? And now here you can see our package.log JSON got modified, our package JSON got modified, right? So now if I open my package.json file, and here I can show you that here we should be having nginx, right? So see here now nginx is there. So, and if you see here in our application, in our node app ec2 package.json, here we don't have our nginx, right? Because we have installed inside our docker container, right? Great. So this docker compose execute command is very useful when we want to execute any command inside our running container. Okay, the very next command is docker compose logs. Okay, we want to see the logs also, right, for all these containers, running containers. So how we can do that? So if we, let me exit it from here. So how we can exit it from inside our container? We have to type command as a exit. So now you are going to make it out from the container. Okay, now make it clear, and here I'll use the command docker compose log. Okay, docker compose logs. So docker compose logs is going to give you the logs for all the containers, all the running containers. So see, press enter, and now you can see the logs from all the running containers. So see, so all these logs are coming from the MongoDB. See, these logs are from the HTML app. See, these logs are coming from the node app. And now if you want to find out any specific log from any specific containers, okay, so how you can do that? Let me do that. So here we can use, let me clear it first. Okay, docker compose logs, and then we will provide the container name. Okay, so I'll use my container name as a HTML app. Okay, I'm using here HTML app. So you would be able to see only, sorry, it would be HTML app. html hyphen app, right? So now we would be able to see the logs from the HTML app. See all these logs coming from the HTML app. And if you want to find out any specific log, suppose that we have some error, right? So how we can do that? Suppose that I want to find out this Microsoft standard WSL2. So how I can do that? So here, right after this docker compose log HTML app, I'll use pipe, and here I'll use grep command, right? And here I'll paste my text, whatever that I want to find, right? So now I would be getting only those lines from our logs which are containing this Microsoft standards WSL, right? I hope this is getting clear to you. Now one more important thing is here, if we want to see the logs continuously from any container, how we can do that? We should follow our log, right? So how we can do that? Here docker, let me make it clear, and here I want to use the log as a docker HTML app hyphen f is going to follow the container. Okay, so if you press F, so it's going to show you the log, and continuously if anything is going to be happen inside our HTML app, so it's going to be displayed over here. So now let me show you here, and what I'll do quickly, I'll go inside my container and I'll stop my HTML app. Okay, so as see, I stopped my HTML app. I see my log here, and my container got stopped now. Okay, great. Now let's move to the next command. So our very next command is docker compose pull. So docker compose pull command is pull the images, list of all those images from our Docker hub if it's not available inside our Docker engine. Okay, now let's see. If we suppose that here I'll remove some of the containers from here like Redis Commander and Mongo Express. Okay, so I'll remove these two containers. So I remove these two containers. I'll remove these two images as well, Mongo Express and Redis Commander. So I removed images as well as I delete the containers. So what I can do here, docker compose pull. Okay, so docker compose pull command is going to pull those images which are there inside our docker compose file. So these three, Angular application, HTML application and node applications are not there in Docker hub, right? So those images are not pulled, but rest of the other images like MongoDB, Redis Commander and our Mongo Express is going to pulled from Docker hub. So see, this is pulling my all those images from there, right? So it may take some time. So now here you can see my Redis Commander is pulled and my Mongo Express is still getting pulled from Docker hub. Right, so here you can see our Mongo Express is also pulled, but other three services like Node app, HTML app and ng app is not there in our Docker hub. So we are getting a error from our Docker daemon. Right, now if you see here, this Mongo Express and Redis Commander images are pulled, but it's not running inside our container. So how we can do that? Very simple. We will do docker compose up -d. So it's going to make those images up and running here inside our Docker container. Right, see now up and running. That's great. I hope that now you'd be getting idea how we can manage several containers inside a Docker Compose as a service, right? Now let's summarize all those Docker Compose commands. So Docker Compose PS to show the list of all the containers, and Docker Compose build is used to rebuild our services defined inside our Docker Compose file, and Docker Compose up command is to build, recreate and start and attach images to the container, right? And Docker Compose down command is used to stop and remove containers, volume, networks and images, right? And Docker Compose start command is used to start existing containers from the services defined inside our Docker Compose file. And Docker Compose stop to stop all those running containers. And stop is used to restart the containers. And Docker Compose execute command is used to execute command inside the running containers, right? And Docker Compose logs is used to see the log for our running services. And Docker Compose pull is used to pull those images which are defined inside our Docker Compose file from the Docker hub, right? So friends, that come to the end of this video. In the very next video, I am going to show you how we can debug our container inside our Docker from Visual Studio Code, right? And friends, At the very end of this video, there is a very humble request to all of you. If you have not subscribed my channel, please subscribe it and don't forget to press the bell icon so you will get the notification of all of my upcoming videos. And please do like and share this video to the people who really need it, because your each and every subscriptions and share like gives me a lot of confidence and moral support to make the quality videos for you. So that's all for the day. I'll see you in my next video. Till then, take care and keep learning.